Good evening and welcome to Region Weather Live, your streaming forecast for the Dakotas and Minnesota. I'm meteorologist Brad Warner. I apologize, I've been missing the last few days, been a little bit under the weather, but we're going to go ahead and give it a try tonight, and we're going to be talking about that system that's going to be intensifying over the region. Well, let's get on into it right away. Now, here we are as of 3 a.m. Tuesday morning. You can see that area low pressure system, surface low, is right on the borders of North and South Dakota. Now, out ahead of this is going to be a warm front, and with all that Gulf moisture and warm air coming out of the south and overrunning this boundary here, we're going to see this precip increasing through central parts of Minnesota and into North Dakota through the early morning hours. Now, here we are as of 6 a.m. Central Time, and this system now has moved a little bit to the east-northeast, and our warm front sits right through here. And you can see how the precip is now beginning to fire up out ahead of that front as that humidity and the warm air overruns that boundary and creates all this rain and some snow mixed in there as well. Now there also is a little bit of precip being brought in on the backside of this as of 6 a.m. So some areas in the western parts of North Dakota, possibly northwestern South Dakota, could begin to see some rain or rain-snow mix. But most of the precip is really going to be developing out ahead of this system. The other thing to note is there's going to be plenty of drier air working in from the southern Rockies and into this system as well. So while this area begins to move to the northeast, we're also going to note how there's going to be just this area of no precip, some drier air. So once this rain and snow mix begins to move north, there's probably going to be a period for some areas where they're going to see some precip and possibly even heavier at times. And then eventually it's just going to stop because we've got this area of drier air that's just going to work its way in there and just basically going to put the precip on hold for a while. Now, here we are, we're taking a little closer look into our region, and this is as of 9 a.m. on Tuesday, and you can see all that moisture developing and working its way out ahead of the system, and then some additional moisture working its way on the backside, and all this drier air right in between. Now, note what happens with this is eventually this area kind of closes up as we go through the time period here. As we get to the noon hour, we see some of that moisture kind of work its way back in, and that drier spot kind of closes in. And by 3 p.m. on Tuesday, much of that has decreased or gone. And what we have is an area of rain and snow mix across northern parts of North Dakota and Minnesota as well, and then down through central and eastern parts of Minnesota. Now, most of this probably will be rain or a rain-snow mix. The good news as we take a look at the temperatures, everybody's going to be in the mid-30s at least, to probably even temperatures warmer than that. And also note that obviously the road temperatures will probably be a little bit warmer as well. So most of this, if it does fall as snow, probably won't accumulate much, with some exceptions where we might get some heavier bands here and there. Up and through northern parts of Minnesota and into the Arrowhead region, where if it snows heavy enough that there could be some accumulating snow through the day on Tuesday. Moving this system right along as we get in through 6 p.m. on Tuesday, and you can see how that really winds up and pushes most of that moisture off to the east and mostly across northern parts of North Dakota and Minnesota as well. We're really actually starting to wind down some of the bulkier, the heavier type of precip. So by this point, again, just kind of a rain-snow mix, maybe a little bit of accumulations across the north, but not really expecting anything heavy at this time. As we get closer to midnight, Tuesday night, very early Wednesday morning, we get more cold air that starts to wrap in on the backside of this, and so we turn more of this rain into a snow, and we get additional area of drier air that works its way back in out ahead of this. So we arc most of that precip way far to the north, and then that kind of wraps its way back in and entraps into that colder air. Once we get to move along in through Wednesday morning by 3 a.m. and by 6 a.m., again, everything's pretty much turned over to snow, maybe a little bit of rain down in through eastern parts of South Dakota. But while at that point, we're looking at probably just some light snow, and then eventually maybe turning back over to a little bit of rain as you get into the day more so on Wednesday. Perhaps a bigger part of this story is going to be dealing with some of the winds on the backside. And while we're going to be having some snow, we're also going to be seeing some, let's pick a different color here so you can actually see this, some pretty strong northerly winds that are going to be gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour once again. So all of us out in the east that had to deal with it all winter, we're not through with it yet. So if there is areas that are going to be snowing and we're going to be having some strong northerly winds, you could expect some reduced visibilities in areas where the snow is occurring. Now, the good news is this is going to be a very wet and heavy snow, so whatever falls probably won't really blow around per se. It's just going to be more dealing with any currently falling snowfall that's going to be causing a problem. Now, if we do back up a little bit, as we're talking about the gusts, out ahead of this main part of the system, we're going back to 9 a.m. on Tuesday, where we have some southerly winds. We also note some strong south winds as well. We're going to be gusting 40 to 45 miles per hour out of the south out ahead of this. So again, any areas where it's going to be snowfall in through northern parts of Minnesota could be a problem as well with these strong southerly winds. If it is snowing, if it's snowing heavy enough with the winds, could reduce visibility. So some areas in through northern parts of Minnesota might not have a very good day on Tuesday. Again, as we kind of move this time frame along, and you can see all quite strong. I mean, this model really showing a lot of wind overnight, Tuesday night in through Wednesday morning, down through southern and western parts of South Dakota, where this is showing 50 to maybe even 60 mile per hour gusts. So, wow. Watch out down there if you're having to travel in through western and southern parts of South Dakota. Again, this is Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. As we take a look at the snowfall map in this particular model that we were looking at, you can see where quite a bit of snow is expected through the Arrowhead region and northeastern parts of Minnesota, and especially across the north shore of Lake Superior out into the Arrowhead region. So, man, if you're heading out there, really looks like you're going to be seeing quite a bit of snow and probably a good chunk of lake effect snow. As we mentioned, the strong southerly winds that are expected to develop out ahead of this system is very likely going to be increasing some of that snowfall due to lake effect snow. So you can see this particular model showing 6 to 7 inches out there. Now, the actual Weather Service forecast currently is kind of showing about the same thing, where they're showing maybe up to 9 inches of snow out into the Arrowhead region out across the Northeast. Sorry, that's just kind of right off the map right now, but the Weather Service kind of looking at 9 inches possible out there, and then also indicating an area of snow 1 to maybe 2 inches out into the northwestern parts of Minnesota, and then just a basic kind of smattering of a trace to maybe some a 2-inch mark up into northern parts of North Dakota. The other thing to note is just the liquid precip that's going to be expected with this. A lot of areas are going to be picking up over a ½ inch to an inch, possibly even more across northern parts of Minnesota. So, boy, some areas up here that were kind of the last to kind of be in that drought area on the eastern half of this region. Now, sorry for you guys out in the west. We're not really talking about you guys just yet, but you guys out here who were kind of still a little dry, you're going to be picking up a fair amount of moisture with this. Now, for you guys out in the west who really, really could use it, probably aren't going to pick up a whole lot of moisture with it. At least there'll be some, but it's not going to be much, unfortunately. Most of it's going to come out ahead of the system and in through Minnesota. Now, as we zoom back out and take a little look beyond Wednesday and go into Wednesday night and into Thursday, you can see this low really kind of lingers around out there. So some of that moisture works back in through Minnesota in the form of snow, along with that strong northerly winds that I mentioned. So there could be some areas later on that could be picking up additional inches of snow just because it does want to linger so long across the day on Thursday even. So we'll have to see how this really progresses. It really seems like it really holds that system there quite long. So part of me wants to say that's probably not quite what's going to happen, but just note that there is the possibility that Thursday, mainly across South Dakota and possibly into far eastern portions of the Dakotas, there could be continued snowfall along with the strong northerly winds as well. As we take a look at the high temperatures expected, on Tuesday we're looking at the upper 30s across the north to 50s down in the south. And then for Wednesday, again, kind of more of the same, a little bit, at least in the north, where you're looking at mid to upper 30s in the north. A little bit cooler in the south, where we're looking mid to upper 40s. And then moving into Thursday, as we get on the backside of that low pressure system, all that northerly wind bringing in the cooler air. We've got a whole lot of 30s out there, mid 30s to upper 30s. And kind of the warmest it gets out in the south and west of the Dakotas is mid 40s on Thursday. And by Friday, possibly a little bit of a warm-up, just depends on how quick this system actually moves on out. If it does move out a little bit quicker, which I think it will, we're probably looking at temperatures back in the 40s, maybe in the 50s and 60s, and they're even looking at maybe 70s down in the far southwest. But again, that all really depends on how quick that system actually moves on out. Saturday, 50s and 60s, so definitely looking at a rebound for sure by the weekend. I'm pretty confident of that. Now, as we zoom back out one more time and take a look at the extended forecast, here we are looking at Saturday evening, and you can see a little weak system moves through our area and brings a little bit of light rain, possibly a little rain mixed with snow across the Dakotas through the late afternoon period Saturday. But that really looks about it. Really not looking like a whole lot there. However, as we get into Tuesday again, it just every week we seem to be getting something here. And again, the models agreeing, not necessarily on timing and location exactly, but they are agreeing that there is going to be another system coming out of the Rockies that will be affecting us Tuesday into Wednesday, probably even into Thursday again. So here you can see this particular model kind of looks fairly similar, although, as I take a look at this, looks a little more convective in nature. So who knows if this actually happens, we could actually be seeing the first round of thunderstorms for some areas in the north. But pretty far out there, I'm kind of crossing my fingers, I guess, and being hopeful. But I guess the other thing to note is, boy, look at all the cold air on the backside of this. And again, some of the models are agreeing that there could be an area of some pretty good snowfall. It's just a matter of where, just a matter of when. Of course, those of you out in the western parts of the Dakotas sure would be happy to see this. Probably wouldn't mind whether it's snow or rain. I know you guys want something out there, but so there is something on the making for next week. But that's quite a ways out there. We still obviously have to deal with this system first and see how this one shakes out exactly. So, all right, well, there's the weather forecast. Thank you all for joining me this evening. As always, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button down below. Don't forget to share it. I am meteorologist Brad Winter with Region Weather Live. Have a good night.